Today, we're diving into the Engineer class in Battlefield 6. This guide will get you set up to be the ultimate support for your team's tanks and vehicles, as well as a top-tier anti-tank and anti-armor specialist. We'll go in depth on every gadget, their damage values, and how to use them effectively, so you can pick the version that fits your playstyle best. Let's get into it. There are already plenty of guides that cover the basics of the Engineer class, but I haven't seen many that truly deep dive the gadgets. Hopefully, with this guide, you'll be able to pick your gadgets with confidence and build a setup that fits your playstyle. So for newer players, the Engineer class is simple. You're either blowing stuff up or you're repairing friendly armor. The real key is how effective you can be at both, and the loadout you build to make that happen. The Engineer's tool of choice is the blowtorch. Use it to repair anything and everything, and yes, it can deal damage to enemy assets too. The Engineer's trait is Mechanized Infantry, which gives you some explosive resistance, but more importantly, keeps enemies from stealing your tank when you jump out. I'll be honest, not a huge fan of this one, because I'm the Battlefield player that loves stealing enemy tanks. Engineers also get improved hipfire accuracy with SMGs, which actually does make a pretty significant difference. Here's a quick side-by-side of an Engineer versus the Assault class using a stock SMG. So by pairing some of the best TTK guns in the game, your Engineer can not only be a force in a tank, but can also be a menace on the ground. Check out my KV9 video if you haven't already. I break down why it's one of the best SMGs in the game. For your training path, select Anti-Armor if you want to take out enemy vehicles, and Combat Engineer if you want to drive them. Anti-Armor gets Devastating Impact, which reduces enemy repair effectiveness whenever you damage them. This is a pretty powerful perk. As you can see from the side-by-side, the repair effectiveness really takes a hit when this perk is active, and the fact that it affects all vehicles, including helis and jets, makes this a must-have if you plan to run any kind of anti-armor build. Faster launcher reloads and extra rockets are also a trait of the anti-armor class, but here again, extra rockets aren't working properly, so it does look like they have to work out some of the kinks with these class abilities. Combat Engineers get vehicle regen, so being inside any vehicle will slowly regenerate health unless it's in a critical state. Overheat control lets you fire longer before vehicle weapons overheat, and Gadget fortification lets you repair things like the support barricade to higher max health. You've got your standard pistol secondary and a few throwables, a frag grenade, an anti-vehicle grenade, and a mini grenade. The frag works as expected. The mini grenade is a lighter frag with less damage but more capacity and throw distance, and the AV grenade, honestly, pretty lackluster. About 140 damage no matter where you hit the tank, with a tiny bit of splash if you miss slightly. It is another tool for chip damage, and the standard frags and minis don't even dent armored vehicles. Now, onto gadgets. Keep a couple things in mind here. Many gadgets start with a low count when you spawn, like the PTKM starts with 1 mine, and the M136 launcher with just 2 rockets. These are really low ammo counts, but can easily be refilled at a supply bag. Experienced NGs know that refilling at friendly support bags needs to be part of your regular rotation. Also, and this is a big one here, all the tests I made here were against vehicles without reinforced plating. But reinforced plating on enemy vehicles makes a huge difference when calculating damage. For example, an RPG to the side of an MBT does 353 max damage. So with vehicles having a hit pool of 1000, you can take down a battle tank with 3 direct hits to the side. But if the MBT has reinforced plating, that damage drops to 300, meaning it would take 4 RPGs to destroy the tank from the side. Reinforced plating basically gives a tank a 15% reduction in overall damage. And remember, this is not accounting for the angle at which you attack the vehicle, which also changes the damage values. I just made a video on how vehicle damage works in Battlefield, so please do check that video out if you really want to understand how angles and location affect vehicle damage. Anyhow, I'm gonna go a little out of order here because I want to save the anti-vehicle launchers for last. First up, the vehicle supply crate. It's a portable supply station that gives ammo and cooldown buffs, similar to the fixed stations around the map, but it does not heal your tank. If it did, it would be an easy pick for your loadouts. As is, it's stationary, easy to be run over by accident, and not ideal for aggressive tank play, If you play full-time tank main and plan to be an armor all match, it teams well with that playstyle. Drop it when your NGs are repairing, or right after you destroy an enemy tank to restock quickly before the next push. Next, the M15 Anti-vehicle mine. In my opinion, still the best mine for now. Simple, effective, high damage, but it actually crits pretty easily in the 700s. One mine usually disables, two usually destroys. And if you're running low, you can actually grab enemy mines to refill your stock. Plenty of drivers still blast through this game like it's GTA, and the fastest way to redeploy is still hopping in a passenger seat. So until folks realize that the battleground is a minefield, AV mines will still live in my loadouts. And if you're real confident, go full Thor, drop an AV mine on a tank, and smack it with your mighty hammer. I probably picked the PTKM Acoustic mine as the next best mine. I don't love it. It does feel inconsistent or bugged, sometimes firing late or not at all, and thermal smoke does negate it. But the damage is decent, at roughly 4 to 500, but you'll need at least 2 to kill a tank. And you can only place 2, because dropping a third breaks the first. Now with this, and the slam mine, and even the AV mine, what new players don't realize is that a tank can easily maneuver around them, by essentially slowly crawling by, and yes, there is a setting to crawl a vehicle. You can bypass most of these sound and motion mines. Next, the EOD Bot. Don't write this off as just a toy gadget. This little RC can be deadly. Its repair function is actually really good, but it actually does a better job of punishing campers and stationary drivers. Sneak under a vehicle and torch it for painful tick damage, then finish with a rocket. Its mines are strong too. All 3 can usually destroy a tank. The biggest downside to this bot, it has the HP of a soda can, and moving it through defenses is tough, and you're exposed while driving it, so deploy from a safe spot. But if you can find the target, it can do some real damage. Now, the M4A1 Slam, I had high hopes, but testing was disappointing. You could stick them anywhere, ground, walls, vehicles, but the trigger radius is tiny, so vehicles must pass right next to them. Ground damage is slightly worse than the AV mines, averaging around 400, and wall place damage is terrible. I've even thrown slams on a vehicle only for them to fail to detonate. The upsides though are quick cooldowns, and you can carry a lot of them, so if a high quantity of mines is your thing, then the slams should be in your bag. Shooting them also works, and I've considered a sniper plus slam troll build just to annoy enemy armor, but I'll let you guys have that kind of fun. Now, before I get into the launchers, I just want to thank you guys for helping me smash my first goal, but now I'm on to the next. So if you do like the content, please do hit that sub button and like if you can, and let's get into these launchers. So the MBT-Law is the first launcher, and it's unique because it always does a top-down attack. So you can shoot head on and still get top bonus damage, without worrying about weak spot angles. The problem is the damage. Less than 300 in my testing, with the occasional crit landing around 350. Unfortunately, because it's technically a smart rocket, it can also be countermeasured by thermal smoke. It's okay as a fire and forget launcher. Now, a squad full of MBT-Laws, yes, this is a tank's worst nightmare. But as a solo engineer, it's a little underwhelming. The SLM-93A is your main anti-air launcher. It's not a one-shot, but it's close. Around 920 damage to aircraft. And it can fire at painted ground vehicles too. The downside is, it can be flared or smoked off. But this is still your best option for anti-air as an engineer. The RPG-7B2. Now this is the king of launchers. The most versatile launcher in the game. Hit the right spot on a tank and you can nearly one-shot it. It's also great for structures, it deletes infantry on direct hits, and it isn't affected by smoke. It also ties for top damage among launchers. It can do 350 to the side of a battle tank, 594 to the rear, and almost 750 as a critical hit. This launcher should live in most engineer loadouts. The MAS 148 Glaive used to be the most devastating launcher in older titles, but in Battlefield 6, it's just not there. Minimum arming distance, long lock-on times, and only about 350 damage. Yes, it can hit painted air targets, but that doesn't make up for the weak damage, so skip it unless it gets buffed. Lastly, the M136 AT4. This guided launcher ties the RPG for damage, but you have to manually guide it, thus leaving you exposed to the enemy as you do this. You also carry one fewer rocket, though a quick stop at a support bag does top you off. It's still a very solid and probably the second best option next to the RPG, especially for its ability to take down air vehicles. For loadouts, you should have at least 2 engineer setups, 1 combat engineer and 1 anti-armor, and I like a third for pure anti-air. So loadout 1, this is your tank buster loadout. Anti-armor training path, SCW or KV9, a pistol of your choice. Gadget 1 will be RPG 7v2, Gadget 2 your M15 anti-tank mine, and AV grenades for extra damage, or swap to frags if you prefer. Loadout 2, this is your tank main setup. Combat engineer path, KV9 or SCW and pistol. Gadget 1, M136 AT4 for those emergency heli shots, and Gadget 2, supply crate to top off before the next push, or swap for rockets or mines if you're not a fan of the crate. Loadout 3, basically used for getting rid of those annoying aircraft. Anti-armor path, SMG and pistol, SLM 93A, plus the EOD bot to have some fun. So the engineer class in Battlefield 6 is one of, if not the most important class in the game, in my opinion. Without capable engineers, your team can be overrun by 1 or 2 strong tank players. On the flip side, even the best tank mains usually need at least 1 solid engineer to break the line. Hopefully this guide helped you pick the gadgets and loadouts that fit your engineer playstyle. If you like the breakdown, hit that like, subscribe for more Battlefield 6 videos, and I'll see you guys on the battlefield.